Hello! So I'm going to do a quick review of where we're up to with title history inclusion. The first thing that I need to show you is with global data sources. Title history is coming from GOKb, and one of the challenges there is we don't want to include full title histories in packages that we're distributing, because that would mean that we'd end up passing the same title history data lots of times for each different package. So what we've done is to separate out packages from titles, and it doesn't matter which way around you do them. Basically, if we try to harvest data about a title that's already in the database, then the data we already have will be enriched or augmented. If it's not a title that we already have, then it'll be created. We've created some filter rules, and we have something called KB plus compliance. So every time we see a new title, it's checked to make sure that it's of a quality that KB plus would like to take. It shouldn't be the case anymore that we have titles in GOKb that don't have class 1 identifiers, which is that we used to have that case when we were testing, but that shouldn't happen anymore. So actually all titles coming from GOKb should be of a quality that KB Plus will accept, but there is a test there just to make sure. This does mean, if we're using title harvest, that we might get titles which aren't in a package, although we should never have titles in GOKb which aren't in packages. So if we get titles floating around like we have in the past, the only way that that can really happen is if we manually delete packages and leave those titles in place. So it's not that should never happen going forward, and it's not clear how that happened in the past. But certainly we shouldn't be in a position where we have titles which aren't in packages, provided we are harvesting packages as well as titles from a particular source. So this whole title history thing is predicated on reasonably not strong coupling, but well-defined links between the global knowledge base and our local institutional instantiations of that. So that's how we get title history data in. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the new Spotlight search for ACS applied. So here we go, Applied Materials and Interfaces, which is a title that I happen to know has a title history. We've recently fixed an issue which will be up on the next push, so that should have taken me to title details, not title instance. This is the screen that you're used to seeing, and you can see we've got this new section which is title history, and we've got the date of the change, and then as things were after the title history event and as things were afterwards. So we've got a before and after, and you can use the content to try and figure out what has changed in this. So it used to be the case with MARC records that you had things like continues in. The difficulty with those sorts of relationships is that they make sense when you're looking at a bib record for a title, but they don't necessarily make sense as the relationship between two titles. So what we've got here, rather than the old MARC style continues in, is just an expression of the fact that at some point there was this title, and then after this change there were these two titles, and we can use our intelligence as human beings to figure out that that means that because this title is in both scenarios, essentially this title split into this and this, and it continued here, but there was this new thing introduced as well. If what we got was from to this, and ACS Applied Materials and Interfaces didn't appear any longer, then we would conclude that it was a title change with no continuing in the original title. Whereas here we can see that something basically split off. And it might well be that this was a merge, of course, and that this continued, or this was present before, or this title could have been created as a result of this action. So we've taken out part of the way that MARC used to model this and model it more like a genuine relationship between some titles. So this title history event applies or stands in isolation from any particular bib records. And you can see I've added a second title history event here, which is completely fatuous. Well, I don't think there's any realistic reason that ACS Applied Materials and Interfaces would become ACS Applied Materials and Interfaces and Weed Biology of Management. I've added this completely fatuous piece of title history to demonstrate something in the next screen. Before we go there, though, I just want to show you this. So what we've got is, because this title history is maintained in GOKb, if you find errors in the title history, like you realize that this is a completely fatuous piece of title history, we've added the link so that the KB Plus data managers can hop straight to GOKb and edit this record in the global knowledge base. So trying to make this quite frictionless in terms of when we're switching from a GOKb mode into a KB Plus mode and vice versa. So I could go here and I could delete this title history, and the next time KB Plus harvests the GOKb title list, which is overnight, we'll pick up this change and this item of title history will be deleted. Similarly, if I want to add something to the title history, because I've just discovered a new relationship, I can add this here, save it, and then the next time KB Plus updates, that title history event will appear in here. Okay, so that's how we can edit title histories at a global level. And obviously the advantage is that when our colleagues in Germany or France or America update title history events, they're all going into one place. So we're building this unified picture of the history of a title. Okay, so that's the title history kind of in isolation. We probably want to look at it in the context of a particular package. So sorry, the test system is a little bit slow. So here we've got the package details, and I believe one of the primary use cases was being able to see whether or not titles which have taken part in a title history are in the current package or not, because quite often they should be, or perhaps they shouldn't be, or perhaps their presence indicates an actual error in the title history. So what we've got are the title, and then if it has a title history, all the title history events are listed below. So you can see that we've got these two title history events, and title name, became, and then the titles. And obviously if it were a merge, we'd have multiple titles here, became, and then single title. And again, because of the way this is implemented, you'll have to just use a bit of human intelligence to see that this was actually basically spawning off a new title, which is Weed Biology and Management. And I could go look at that title to see if it existed before. We don't want to pull in the whole title history of Weed Biology and Title Management here, because that could be potentially huge. So what we've got listed here are the transactions that this title was involved in. And importantly, these ticks and crosses indicate whether or not that particular title is in this package. So when we're looking at a title history in the context of a package, a tick in brackets afterwards means this, and by the way, this title is in this package. So we happen to know that this title is in this package, and this one is. But the one which stands out and obviously isn't right, because it's my fatuous test data, is Weed Biology and Management. So the cross here indicates that actually this title isn't in this package, and I might want to go there and try and figure out. I mean, it's a completely different title. It doesn't really make sense for it to be in here. But that's interesting. You can see the title history. So this is the same title history event, but obviously from the perspective of Weed Biology and Management, and you can see that this title took part in this change in the two part of the relationship, if you like. So you can almost see that this title, if this is the complete title history, this title was brought into existence as a separation from ACS Applied Materials and Interfaces. So I think that's the entirety of the title history work as we've got it at the moment. I think hopefully it's relatively straightforward, and what I'm really after is this being low friction, but a way of actually editing the title history data in a shared central place, rather than having a local copy which then might be out of sync or not. So all feedback is most welcome. Thank you.